Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Nine Frames Podcast. It is episode 48, and it is Friday, November 10th, 2023. I am Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Catch us, as always, on YouTube at Nine Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is Nine Frames, and our X is at Nine Frames Pod. Silver Sluggers have been awarded, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we made our predictions on the last episode, and we'll see how many we got right.
Yeah, we both shot pretty good percentages, so we'll break it down. Some surprising ones in there for sure. Learning more about how the utility one works for sure as well. But we'll get into that later. For now, we have the hot stove heating up. But we are going to start with another managerial signing. It happened basically right after we stopped our last episode. Ron Washington inks a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Angels to manage them. That is his first managerial job since 2014, a whole decade, man.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of his, so it'll be nice to see him back at the front of the bench for a team. The Angels, I mean, they're going to have Mike Trout unless barring a crazy trade, so he's going to get to manage the best player in the league.
Yeah, that's why this job is so intriguing to me. I mean, if you're going out for a managerial job and they're saying you get to coach the best player, debatably, I mean, there's a debate that it's of all-time pure baseball player, but I mean, of this generation, you got to get that job for sure. And Ron Washington, his last managerial job was with Texas in 2014, as we said, when he resigned. He's worked for the Athletics and then the Braves for that. He's been their third base coach since 2017, I believe, right?
Yeah, and he was a fielding coach for the Athletics before that because even as a third base coach with the Braves, that's what he's been doing there too because he's always been so good at it. Yeah, the only downside to this job is that you don't know if you're going to have Shohei Ohtani next year or not.
No, fair enough, and I think there's a pretty decent chance that they won't have him, all things considering. But he is a great players manager, and he's beloved by players. We'll see what he does with the Angels next season.
Yeah, hopefully it's a nice change of culture there.
Mm-hmm. And the San Diego Padres, keeping it with managers, they interviewed former Angels manager Phil Nevin to fill their role. What do you think about that?
I don't really know if that's... I mean, the Padres... Why would they fire Bob Melvin to go for Phil Nevin? I just don't really... I don't understand the mindset that the Padres are going through right now.
Yeah, you usually want to upgrade, and I feel like Bob Melvin to Phil Nevin, no disrespect to Phil Nevin, that's just not that.
Yeah, because it's not like Phil Nevin is this overly young guy that has, like, the analytical intelligence that someone like Carlos Mendoza that the Mets just hired.
Yeah, there's basically what we're saying is, like, what is the angle here?
Yeah.
What is he bringing that we didn't have formerly?
It just seems like they're hiring another old-school type manager that really has just a lot less experience than Bob Melvin, so I don't know, I really just don't understand.
I think it's just fair to say San Diego is just a wildly run organization over there. They've been weird for years.
I mean, if that's who they decide to go with, I mean, best of luck to him and the Padres, but I don't know if that's the right choice.
We will see if they can get back on track and get back into the playoffs next season. Speaking of in the playoffs, man, the Milwaukee Brewers, who were eliminated by the Diamondbacks in the wild card series, they're apparently open to moving virtually any player on their roster. Why?
I don't really understand that either. Maybe it's because they just lost their president of baseball operations and their manager in just one fell swoop, I guess.
There is a lot of talent on that team, man. Like, it's a playoff roster, quite literally. You got guys like Devin Williams. You got former Cy Young Corbin Burns. Now you have Silver Slugger winner Contreras, which we're going to talk about in a bit. I mean, they're studs on that team. Yelich, former MVP.
Yeah, one of the problems with them is that they're going to have a lot of free agents coming up at the same time with Burns, Woodruff, Williams is going to be a free agent. Yelich, if they could get rid of that contract, I'm sure they'd love to at this point. If that means it's a part of the mini rebuild, that remains to be seen. But they're going to have to find somebody that would be willing to take that contract, and you'd assume that it would have to be Yelich's contract paired with somebody like maybe Devin Williams to take the relief off a little bit.
I guess it's probably the best way you could look at it is that the Brewers see that this current window with the players they have is closing, and they want to open up a new one for the future. Interesting to see how they go about their offseason, because that could be a hell of a fire sale.
Yeah, the word for this is, I would say, it's not a rebuild, it's more of a retool.
Which retooling is, I think, the best way to stay competitive in this sport. It's what the Red Sox have been doing forever. If the Red Sox are good for 5 years, they'll be bad for 1 or 2, and then they're going to be good for another 5 or 6. It's crazy.
The Brewers have been that way. They've been pretty consistently good over the last decade. So they made 5 out of the last 6 postseasons or something like that. So they know that they could get there. They have the organizational intelligence of how to build. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing how their offseason plays out and how their season next year, how their team even looks. Another one, this is a wild move as well. Philadelphia says that they're willing to trade Nick Castellanos.
Yeah, that's another contract.
Got 3 years, $60 million on the deal, but man, he's really been helping them lately. So it feels weird to get rid of him right now when they are just a team that seems like they're gonna go full force back at that pennant.
Yeah, especially with the news that Bryce Harper is going to be moving exclusively to first base. I mean, why are you going to get rid of the right fielder when the right fielder is moving to first base because they're moving on from Hoskins?
Last season, Castellanos batted .272. He had a .788 OPS, 29 homers, and 106 RBI, and he's on the block. Somebody better call.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that probably 29 out of the other 30 teams
I don't
calling.
know. Definitely everyone.
$20 million for Nick Castellanos is a steal.
Every team on the bubble of the postseason at least should be trying to pick this guy up. Yeah, for sure.
Especially because now he's become a good fielder too. He didn't make an error all year.
Very intriguing. The best part about the baseball offseason is now that news is out, man. I know that any second we can get a little tweet notification that Nick Castellanos is on the move to some obscure team.
That's the thing that happens in baseball is it feels like it's going to build up and up and up, and then like once the first domino falls, then people will start flying off the shelf.
I'm saying, I haven't said it on the podcast yet, but I really think that's what's going to happen with this Ohtani sweepstakes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the domino. Once he goes, everyone's going to be like, okay, we can adjust.
Everybody thinks it's going to be this long-winded thing, though, and I bet one day the news is just going to pop up that he signed the deal that he likes.
Well, some guys like to have their deal in place before Christmas so that they could celebrate the holidays and stuff with their family knowing that they're good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a smart move, honestly.
So
imagine signing the fattest deal in MLB history and then celebrating Christmas. Gotta love it.
It'd be quite the Christmas.
And sticking in Philadelphia, because we will do that, like you just said, the president of baseball operations has said that Harper is the new full-time first baseman, which means that Philadelphia will be moving on from Rhys Hoskins, who didn't play a game this year.
Yeah, he tore his ACL early on in the year, so that means that's another viable DH/first base option on the market.
A really disappointing end to a long tenure with that team, for sure, too.
Yeah, the fans loved him, too. Like the Philadelphia fans, every other fan base didn't.
6 years with Philadelphia, he batted .242 with an .846 OPS in his career, 148 home runs and 405 RBI with an 11.1 WAR in 6 years.
Yeah.
He's a solid player, and he's going to land on his feet somewhere for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He was one of their homegrown talent. I don't really know if he gets it. If he doesn't get injured this year, I don't think we're talking about this.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not, because I don't think they would even take him off that spot for Harper in the first place.
Harper would have just remained the DH.
So it's tough, man. Injury is cruel to you. He ends up losing the job in Philadelphia, which I know the guy loved Philly.
Oh, yeah. And they, like I just said, they loved him.
Yeah, and
sometimes baseball's a business, though. That's just how it goes.
Should be interesting to see where he lands, because everybody could use that DH. Now the DH is universal.
A lot of good DH options on the market this year, though.
A couple Silver Slugger candidates, so we will see. The last story of our intro here is that the 2020 Cy Young winner, Trevor Bauer, his agent has begun meeting with MLB teams. What do you think about it?
I think he's still a very controversial person, but he will get a job somewhere just based off of him being proven innocent, basically, and him having a pretty good, solid season in Japan. I mean, I would not be surprised to see if somebody takes a chance on him for a cheap 1-year return deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all either. Just to recap, in 2020, I was looking at it. This is pretty ridiculous. He was 5-4 with a 1.73 ERA. He had 2 complete game shutouts in just 11 games started. 100 Ks in 73 innings pitched that year in the Cy Young for Cincinnati.
Yeah, the only thing that I will say about that is he did have a good year. It was a shortened season, but if you look at the people he was pitching against, it was like the Pirates, the Tiger. If you remember, you were only playing the Central.
Not too much travel
from each side that year.
That is very true. Not a lot of travel. He dominated the Central.
Yeah,
essentially
he beat up on the Royals, the White Sox, Sox, the Guardian, you know what I mean?
That definitely does paint it in a different light when you put it like that, because the Central is notoriously, for the last half decade or even more, been the weakest division in both leagues. So.
Yeah, he had a good year. I mean, his numbers are there, obviously, but he did play some pretty weak competition
the
that
next
season.
year, in 2021, he went 8-5 with a 2.59 and 17 games started with the Dodgers. I mean, he's
that
a
was
solid
before he got suspended.
Yeah, before the suspension, and he was still going. He was cooking.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was going to be a good fit for the Dodgers, so I wouldn't be surprised that their rotation is kind of banged up right now. They're going to have some free agents. Kershaw's on the market this offseason. I think Buehler is either next season or the one after that. Arias is a free agent, so I wouldn't be surprised if they try to maybe rekindle there.
Could see that. I wonder how much money he would be asking on the market these
Can't
days.
be much.
Because if it's not that much, a reunion with his Cincinnati Reds might be in order.
Yeah,
they could use an arm.
There's options out there. It's really going to be about if the organization wants to swallow, because he's supposed. I mean, allegedly he's a locker room cancer, according to multiple sources. But
Yeah, I mean, we've heard that from other guys that
Josh Donaldson's been called that. I mean,
Marcus Stroman hasn't had the best reputation, but there they are still getting jobs.
Yeah, they still find ways. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a comeback this year.
Yeah, we will keep our finger on the pulse of the Trevor Bauer story and our finger on the pulse of the hot stove all off season long, folks. We will get into the Silver Slugger winners now. Like we said, Silver Slugger winners have been announced for the 2023 season, and we will get right into it with the American League here. We're starting in first base. Me and you, we both said this was a pretty obvious one. It is the batting champion, Yandy Diaz from Tampa Bay, who takes it home.
Yeah, we both did pick him. I mean, he had a fantastic year. He hit over 330, won the batting title late when Seager kind of fizzled out at the end. He hit 320-something, but...
Yeah, he missed it by 3 points, 330 to 327. Really great years for both of them. But yeah, Yandy Diaz takes home the batting title and that Silver Slugger.
First of his career. So well-deserved. I mean, maybe we've seen the blossoming of one of the best first basemen in baseball this year.
Don't be surprised if we're talking about him like that in the coming years, yeah. Second base, this was one of the most straightforward ones. Marcus Semien, the MVP finalist, beat out Brandon Drury and Gleyber Torres, led MLB in hits and had 29 homers and 100 RBI. He takes that one home for Texas, the World Series champions.
Yeah, there's not much to say about that one. When you looked at the field, the guy played every single game. He had another great season. He's going to take home his second Silver Slugger of his career, and very, very well deserved.
And his middle infield partner up the middle there, Corey Seager, takes home his third of his career. I think this was his best offensive year of his career. Batted .327, 33 homers, 96 RBI, a 10-13 OPS. Blows my mind every time we see it. Shout out Bobby Witt Jr. He couldn't get this one done this year, but I mean, I hope to see him in that conversation again next year. Yeah,
unfortunate, but for these two second base and shortstop positions in the AL, we kind of figured it would be Semien and Seager because they're both MVP candidates. You'd assume they're both going to win their Silver Sluggers, and they do just that.
Yeah, I mean, 2 out of the top 3 MVP candidates, along with Shohei Ohtani, you'd think they take it home.
The Rangers just continue to collect hardware.
A lot of gold, a lot of silver this year. Third base. This one wasn't so obvious, but my guy did take it home. I'm still shooting 100% here. This is your first one that you got wrong. It was Rafael Devers of Boston. You had Jose Ramirez of Cleveland, correct?
Yeah, I thought J-Ram had a chance at it, but I also said I wouldn't be surprised if they gave it to Devers, who had another great year for the Red Sox.
Yeah, this one they took just like the mass quantity. We'll talk about it later on. You were right. Some of these guys play on worse teams and can't get the huge RBI numbers, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't get it.
Yeah, they take into account based on how much they can do.
And I think that's exactly the type of guy Jose Ramirez is. He did all he could for the Cleveland Guardians this year.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't unanimously toward Devers. I'm sure Ramirez had plenty of support, but yeah, I got no problem with Devers winning his second of his career.
Shout out Devers. The outfield one was very stacked, as we said. Kyle Tucker takes home his first. J-Rod takes home his second in a row.
Yeah, the first
well.
2 years of his career, he's a Silver Slugger both years.
And your guy got this one. Luis Robert Jr. gets his first of his career. This is the guy we were talking about. He had 38 homers, slugged .542, had 80 RBI on the White Sox.
Yeah.
I mean, the White Sox don't have a lot of guys to drive in. If you're driving in 80, it's very impressive.
80 on that team. I mean, they were really bad this year. So him driving in 80 runs with a what did you say his slugging percentage was?
.542.
Yeah. So I mean, he definitely deserved to win his first of his career, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think this is the last time he's gonna win one.
No, I think all of these are deserved. It is tough to see Adolis Garcia get. I don't even want to say snubbed because all of these guys did it too.
Yeah, it's what we were saying about the AL field. It was so strong with 7 people. It was tough to choose 3. I was convinced Garcia was getting one.
I know, man. Baseball is such a marathon, and I can't imagine playing that many games, putting up 39 homers and 107 RBI, and they say you're not getting the silver bat. Why not?
Yeah,
it's tough. There's not enough to give out.
I understand people could make the argument, oh, he had this many more RBI than Robert, but like it's the same thing we were just talking about. They're on different teams. One's on the best offense in the American League. One's on one of the worst. So.
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not sure of Adolis's slugging, so I'm not going to speak on it directly, but .542 is an insane number.
Yeah, I'm sure Adolis
was just a low.
He might have been 4th. I wouldn't be surprised if
he
was
would have
4th.
been my 4th, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just like Tucker would have been my 4th, so we both got one wrong in the outfielders. I got Tucker wrong, and you got Robert wrong, so because we both put Garcia.
Yeah, very true, very true. Moving it on over to catcher, this was Sal Perez, Cal Raleigh, and Adley Rutschman.
Pretty straightforward.
Adley Rutschman takes this one home. The only real argument that could be made is that Cal Raleigh had a 30-homer season as
Average
a catcher.
was too low, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. This is Adley's award to take home, and it should have been. He batted .277, 20 homers, and 80 RBI with an .889 OPS. Great season. Yeah,
going to be a great career, I would say, for the new backstop of the Orioles. A lot of good teams that are built off of that field general behind the dish. The Giants with Posey, the Cardinals with Yachty. I mean, so if Adley can be that guy like he appears to be, the O's might be a problem for quite some time.
And this won't be the last time we talk about the O's. Spoiler alert from this episode. Moving it on over to DH, though. It's unfortunate that this was.
Yeah, we talked about this.
It's unfortunate that this was straightforward, but it was straightforward. Shohei Ohtani having the clear best offensive year of his career with the bag on the line.
Yeah, he had over 300, man.
Led the AL in homers with 44. I mean, what more can you say? He had a 1066 OPS and a 304 batting average. Yeah, I mean, take home that bat for sure.
Yeah, he's going to win his second MVP, and he just wins his second Silver Slugger along with it. They go hand in hand. You really can't argue that the MVP favorite doesn't win the Silver Slugger, especially at DH, which is a designated hitter. So he's gonna win that. And honestly, it's just unfortunate for Jordan, but
for whatever league he signs in, I think it could end up being unfortunate for them for a long, long time.
Yeah,
this award is going to be hard to take out of his hands.
Definitely.
Moving it on over to utility. This one was a fun category. It didn't go how I thought it did, or it was going to, but the favorite did win it. Gunnar Henderson takes home the first of his career in his rookie year, and I think he could be the Rookie of the Year winner as well.
I think he's probably the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Yeah,
it's between him and Cassis, really, right?
Yeah, him, Cassis, and Bybee are the nominees. But I think it is going to be Henderson's award. But hey, man, I picked Paredes. I thought the 30 what did he have? 31 and 98. I thought that would be enough to grab one.
I thought so as well. That was my pick. I mean, I was on the fence with Paredes for the third base Silver Slugger, so to not see him get the utility is a little shocking for me. But I know Gunnar Henderson's hot in the streets right now, so he gets the vote.
The two young building blocks for the Orioles proved to win Silver Sluggers in their first full season. Yeah, so congrats to the Orioles and both of those guys. The
mantles are filling up for those guys for sure.
Yep.
The team won. This one could not get more obvious, and the Texas Rangers do take this one home. We both had that predicted.
Yeah, you told everybody about how they led the league in basically everything last episode, so it was pretty straightforward that the Rangers were going to win this award. Brand new award this year, so they are the inaugural winners the first time.
Very true. So I ended up getting one outfielder wrong and the utility spot wrong myself.
I got third wrong, one outfielder, and utility. So you did one better than me. It was at third base.
Yeah, shot pretty good percentages. Phenomenal years for all of these guys. Congratulations. You're 2023 Silver Slugger winners.
From the American League, yeah. In all fairness, for the third base one, I did say I'm going to try to be a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was a toss-up probably between them two. So, yeah, no shame on losing out to Devers either, or any of these guys for that matter. Any of the nominees, they all had great seasons, but congratulations to the guys who won it from the American League.
Most definitely. Now that we have covered the American League winners, we will take it on over to the National League, and we will start in first base again. This one was as obvious as it could be because, man, his numbers are just disgusting. Matt Olson wins for Atlanta. He had 139 RBI and 54 homer. He led the MLB in both of those.
Yeah, setting franchise records for an extremely good franchise. And the Braves, they've seen a lot of good players come through there. So to set franchise records in both homers and RBI for them, we had to assume he was going to win it. It's unfortunate for Freeman, who comes a double short of 60, and Alonso, who has 47 home runs and 100-plus RBI yet again. But you really can't argue it. It should have been Olsen, and it was.
And those NL first basemen can slug, man, because I think any three of them win the AL one.
Yeah, probably.
Over any of the candidates, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, man. Probably.
NL first baseman can swing it.
Yeah, and that's going to be Olsen's first Silver Slugger of his career, so now he's got gold gloves and a Silver Slugger.
Yeah, plays a really solid first base and clearly has a great left-hand bat. A lot of balls hit out of Truist Park this year. Moving it on over to second base, I thought we were going to be talking about another Brave here, but no sir, man. Luis Arias from Miami takes home the second base Silver Slugger. I think this is shocking.
It is pretty shocking, consider we were saying how a second baseman had 33 and 109. But they really must have just loved. 350 is
the
absolutely
current
insane.
Trend in baseball amongst writers, amongst analysts, amongst everything is that batting average is not as important as it used to be, or as people used to think it is.
He did have he had an 861 OPS, so he's around 900, man. So even if he didn't have a bunch of, I think he finished with 7 home runs,
10 home runs and 60.
Arias had 10 home runs,
10 home runs and 69 RBI.
All right, so he put a little bit of a jolt.
Well, here's
in.
the thing. Yeah, it sounds like I'm dumping on the guy. I'm not. He had an insane offensive year, but for the guy to lose with 280, Albies lost with 280, 33 homers and 109 RBI when he had 354, 10, and 69.
Yeah, I guess they were taking into account lineup strength and where they hit, because Arias was the leadoff. With the exception of Acuna and Betts, no leadoff hitter drives in 100 runs.
Albies is down towards the bottom of that lineup, but there's people to drive in everywhere, so I
that's
guess
the
there's
thing.
That. But still, I don't. It's pretty wild to me. But Luis Arias did have he was all over the news this year. So it's only fitting that he does take home an award and gets in the history books.
And now he is a Silver Slugger winner in the AL and the NL.
Yep, yeah, definitely.
Back-to-back years.
Always impressive to be able to win awards in both leagues, and he does that now.
Back-to-back batting championships, back-to-back Silver Sluggers in different leagues, man. Do you know how hard that is to switch leagues?
Mm-hmm. It's always really impressive when pitchers do that, man.
Yeah.
When pitchers switch leagues and they face they're facing a whole new set of guys.
It's kind of the same for hitting, though. You never see those pitchers.
No, that's very true. It might even be harder now that I think about it.
It's pretty crazy, man. Either way, to just completely switch leagues after being in one league your entire career. We saw how much Lindor struggled the first year with the Mets, but...
And that's who we're talking about next as we take it on over to shortstop. Couldn't be happier with this one. Francisco Lindor takes home the silver, his third Silver Slugger, his first since 2019 with
the Mets.
Yeah, finally gets one in the blue and orange, and this one is more than deserved. 31 homers and 31 stolen base, an 806 OPS. I thought this was easy.
Yeah, there was only 4 shortstops in the history of baseball that have had a 30-30 season until this season, when Francisco Lindor joined and Bobby Witt Jr. joined. Unfortunately, Corey Seager's in the other one, like we were saying, but Lindor is recognized for his 30-30 season, historical season for a shortstop, and he gets his well-deserved third career Silver Slugger. Congratulations. Absolutely. So happy for the guy.
And taking it on over to the hot corner now, and we got another Bravo to talk about. Austin Riley takes this one home for them. That will be his second of his career. He had an even better year last time he won one, but this time he slashes 281, 345, 516, had 37 homers and 97 RBI.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, he was off to a bit of a slow start, and then he really started to pick it up, and I mean, he was a part of the greatest offense of all time, right in the middle of it, so it's not really surprising to see.
No, Muncy had a great year. They had similar production, but Muncy's average was much lower than Riley, so when you produce around the same, but the other guy just gets more hits, you're going to give it to the guy who gets more hits.
Yeah, I think Austin Riley is one of the better third basemen in baseball, so this is definitely well-deserved.
I mean, I'll say it. He's one of the better players in baseball.
Yeah.
Phenomenal player, Austin Riley. Love to hate him because, man, as a Mets killer, he is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, moving it on over to the outfield now, and as we talked about before in the AL, we had 2 NL MVP finalists here, and they take home their Silver Sluggers with ease. Ronald Acuna Jr. takes home his 3rd of his career, and Mookie Betts taking home his 6th
Unbelievable.
of his career. And then my guy Juan Soto gets the 4th of his career for San Diego there.
Yeah, I picked Carroll for that 3rd slot. I think it was pretty obvious that Acuna and Betts were getting the first 2. I'm not surprised that Soto won. He had a fantastic year again. I mean, he's just one of the best hitters in baseball, and he's still not even 25. It's actually insane. But Corbin Carroll was probably the 4th option, and it's really unfortunate that he doesn't get recognition in terms of a Silver Slugger for the season he had. But
You think Carroll over Bellinger?
yeah, I do. I mean, he had almost 30 home runs and 50 stolen bases. I mean, he was incredible. He hit over 300. He was. I mean, his team made the playoffs. He drove the D-backs all year as a rookie. I mean, it was just an insane season.
Love to see them giving it to Soto, who so impressive how he's able to play 162 games in a year.
Might be on a different team next year, too.
He really might, yeah. San Diego is being run funny, as we said. They're in a weird transitional time with money. They just took out a loan, so...
If you want my honest opinion, I think it would be in the Padres' best interest to do whatever they can to extend him and get rid of other players. I would get rid of Fernando Tatis Jr. before I got rid of Soto. But hey, if they want to let Soto go, be my guest. I mean, I'm sure, like I said for the other guys, 29 other teams.
This time it's actually 29 other teams. Whether you're competitive or not, this guy is
You're going for him.
He's young enough where if you just pay him the bag, you build around that for the rest of his contract.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do with him. So Acuna, Betts, and Soto take it home. What a crazy outfield that is.
All-star.
Yeah, for sure. Catchers, man. William Contreras takes home his 1st of his career, his
Another
first
one.
Silver Slugger with Milwaukee. Milwaukee might move him.
I think they're gonna hang on to him. It would be in their best interest to hang on to him. I mean, he was really, really good for them as his first year as a full-time starter because he was splitting time with Darno on the Braves last year. He goes over to Milwaukee, wins a Silver Slugger, and we were talking about his stats on the last episode, man. He had a great year.
291 with 17 homers and 78 RBI in 141 games. He had an 826 OPS as a catcher, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, he definitely deserved it.
Super impressive, and he takes home the 1st of his career. Congratulations, William Contreras.
This was the one that I found the funniest.
Not only funny,
And
but
I was right.
I was quite shocked by this. I thought of it as more of an accumulation of a full season. I know he was insane in the time he played, but Bryce Harper takes home the DH Silver Slugger for the National League over J.D. Martinez and Marcell Ozuna, as well as Jorge Soler.
I think it's much like the thing we were talking about with Robert, is that it's based on the time he played, and he still did have 134 hits this year. He's coming back from a catastrophic injury for a lot of players. He's learning a new position. He played that position pretty well, I would say, all things considered.
And defensively, he was good, yeah.
His bat really never wavered. I mean, he did go through like a 38-game homerless streak, if I remember correctly, but during that streak, he still was able to slash doubles, still drove in runs, kept the average up around 300. He was at, 293? So, yeah, definitely well-deserved. He was my pick, actually, even with the lower numbers.
Yeah, it was a good pick for sure. I was surprised to see him beat out J.D. Martinez and Ozuna. J.D. coming off the best offensive year in quite a while for him, probably since 2019. Batted .271 with an .893 OPS, 33 homers, and 103 RBI, while Ozuna batted .274, 905 OPS, 40 homers, and 100 RBI. I mean, pretty impressive to see Harp take it over them. But
Yeah.
not for nothing, in 126 games, Harper batted .293 with a 900 OPS, 21 homers, and 72 RBI.
Yeah, so if you fill in the rest there, you'd think he's probably around 30, 35 with around 100. So, I mean,
And that's with him going on that homerless streak?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he could have done something really crazy in the shortened season there if he was hitting homers consistently.
He really just is a special player. He's a 2-time MVP, now he's a 3-time Silver Slugger, so congratulations to Bryce Harper.
Another one of those where you can't say he didn't deserve it. Absolutely does.
And in all honesty, I will say I'm just thrilled Ozuna did not get an award because he doesn't deserve it.
I'm with you there. Bad guy. We move it on over to utility, and this one was an eye-opener. The utility one is new, so we're kind of learning on how the voters work with this. I think it was too obvious that Betts was going to win the outfield one, so the voters decided to give it to Cody Bellinger.
Maybe it's because Bellinger played more games in a different position, because I think Bellinger split between center and first, and Betts played right, second, short. Like, he bounced around, but he didn't play second and short until later in the year, I feel like.
Yeah,
so
true.
I don't know the exact number of games each. Maybe it just came down to they didn't want to give Mookie to and gave it to somebody else who definitely deserved it. Because
that's kind of what I think. Yeah,
he had a great year, and he was amongst a stacked NL field for Silver Sluggers. He really didn't have much of a chance.
No, anyway
he would have been 4 or 5, but
any way you slice it, Cody Bellinger deserves some hardware for this year. He went .307 with an .881 OPS, 26 homers and 97 RBI in 130 games. I mean, it would have been tough to see him not get one and Mookie get 2, so it's fair enough that he gets that.
Yeah, and he picks up his first Silver Slugger, second of his career, but the first since his MVP season back with the Dodgers. So it's been a minute, and he's back on the board.
Yeah, what a couple,
as an impending free agent too, so no better time.
What a couple historic franchises to win Silver Sluggers for. He's a Silver Slugger with the Dodgers and the Cubs now.
Yeah, it's gonna go in the career log. It's gonna look nice when you look back for sure.
And we got the team Silver Slugger here.
The most obvious award of the entire ceremony.
They were as obvious in the AL, in the NL. This one goes to the Braves. Obviously, they're first because this is the first, as we said earlier. Yeah, the Braves take this one home.
Yeah, there's no shock here. I mean, there's not even really much to say. We all watched the Braves this year. We saw how much damage they were doing basically every single night. So, no surprise.
No, absolute juggernaut, and they take it home. I was wrong about second base. I had Albies. I was wrong about I was wrong about the DH, and I was wrong about the utility, so I was wrong with 3 in this one.
Yeah, I was wrong at, I believe, second base I said also Albies. I said Carroll, and then Bellinger. So you got one more right than me overall, and it was in the AL.
Yeah.
I got 6 wrong, you got 5 wrong. But overall, that's pretty good shooting percentages, and lots of good winners, man. Lots of first-time winners. Contreras, Olsen, Rushman, Yandy Diaz, Kyle Tucker, Luis Robert, and Gunnar Henderson. 7 first-time winners of the Silver Slugger Award.
Really nice to see. I mean, you basically just listed off an all-star team, so It's good to see these guys getting their flowers on the biggest stage they can. Congratulations to your 2023 NL Silver Slugger winners. And now that we're at the end, I mean, congratulations to all of the 2023 Silver Slugger winners for the MLB regular season.
Yeah, and now we're going to have to talk about all MLB teams when they release them, and then we got the awards next week.
Yeah, next week really is awards week, so expect a lot of predictions there, and we want to hear what you guys think, so comment below who you think's taking home the awards. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening wherever you do. That was episode 48 of the 9 Frames podcast, and it is Friday, November 10th, 2023. I've been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
And you can catch us always on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast, our Spotify's 9 Frames, and our X's at 9 Frames Pod. This was a silver episode. Everybody taking home their Silver Sluggers. Congratulations to all the winners.
Yeah, I was going to say congratulations to everybody that won. Congratulations, honestly, to the nominees. It's a great honor to be nominated for one of these. And now we look forward to seeing who takes home the big hardware, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, and MVP.
Should be really fun to predict and look forward to that next week. And then even more fun than that, folks, we got a hot off-season coming up. The Ohtani sweepstakes coming up. A lot of people being traded that we didn't even think were on the market. Keep your eyes peeled. It should be a really fun one. Please comment on the video, your thoughts, and share this with your friends if you think they'd enjoy.
Yeah, we appreciate it as always, and have a great weekend, everyone.